All right. Welcome anyone who is watching. Actually, I'm gonna try to turn my mic down just a little. The game, but let me know if that sounds okay. If anybody's watching live, so welcome if you're watching live. If you're watching on YouTube, that's awesome as well on the replay. But unfortunately, we had a one-shot planned. I call it a one-shot, but it's a multiple sessions of the Lost Citadel of the Scarlet Minotaur. And one of my players had to back out, and I wasn't sure we'd get a full table, so we punted on today's session. We do have a session 0 and a session 1 that I'll link to if you want to watch it. But what I thought I would do today and spend an hour, maybe an hour and a half, so it might be kind of a long video stream. I'll try to timestamp it. But I'm going to walk through the adventure, both to show Fantasy Grounds off and show you what I did with the map, show you how I prepped. Maybe some of it you like and you can take in your own adventure. Maybe some you think is overkill and you don't want it in your adventure. But I just thought I'd go through all of the pieces that I've done to set up the adventure. So I'm going to start with the basics. And that is, if you look at my overlay, I've got 4 spots that I have images for the players. And then when they push to talk, it lights up so you know which player is speaking. I don't always use cameras because not everybody wants to be on camera. So usually I just have myself on camera. And as far as extensions, if you look in the chat window, I don't know if you see my cursor. Actually, it looks like you don't. I won't try to fix that. Well, maybe I can. Give me 1 second. In OBS, I might be able to fix that. Monitor. Let's go to properties. Oh, it says capture cursor. Huh. All right. For some reason, it's not showing up on my screen. Oh, there we go. I just had to click on it. All right. So what I'm using for extensions is I'm using something called Bartender by me and Unique. And what is Bartender? It's a really simple extension. All it does is, usually if you look at my hotkey bar, you actually can't see it. But on my hotkey bar, usually you have a button that makes it a little hard to read the hotkeys that are at the bottom of Fantasy Grounds that are actually right below my dice. So they're right below this. You can't really see them on my overlay. But that extension just gets rid of that button. Let's see, basic card tables. That's an extension that allows you to roll on a table. And then if for some reason you don't want to be able to roll the same result twice, it'll take out the result after you roll, so that it's kind of like a deck of cards. You took a card out, you don't have that card. So that's that. Easy Lights is something I bought off the Forge from Metacure. And that gives me some buttons that you see at the top up here for lighting. There's a lantern. I created an NPC vision, darkness, and torch. So if I click on the token, I can turn that on and off at the top. That's what that is. GM icon, Die Hard Gaming, that just lets me basically chat, and it has my icon. You'll see it when I type in chat. I'll do that later. Safety toolkit up here. There's an open safety toolkit button. So if I click on that, it's not going to show anything now, but it has X and an O card. So if somebody doesn't like the content, they can notify me anonymously. That's that. And then full mode map. This is allowing me to make the map my entire background image. You can see that it encompasses everything across the whole screen, but it's staying underneath my chat window and the combat tracker. So that's pretty cool, because normally I'd have to size it and make it not overlay the combat tracker. So I really like that. So that is it. So you'll also see in my overlay right around here, token. I can't quite point to it, but I have something that I will reset and then I'll explain what it is. But it's a way for me to light the torch. I'm going to do it on a different screen, and then you should see it. So there you go. So this is simply for effect for the stream. It doesn't have any in-game ramifications really, but it helps me show the stream how is the light timer working. So it's called torchlighttimer.com. And if I click on light torch, it'll just light a torch. And then I can modify it up or down. I can pause it, I can do whatever. But I have this up on another screen, so it won't stop when I close it. But when I X out of this, so at least you can see it on the stream and you can kind of follow along, since light is such a big thing in Shadow Dark. So I thought that was pretty cool. There is a timer. I'm not going to activate it here, but there is a light panel that I will click on and show you. So in the game I'm in, so I am in our actual game here, but you can light a torch and this will track in real time. You have to click start session and then end session when you're done, or it'll just keep running. But as you scroll through rounds on the combat tracker, it will actually keep toggling and updating the light for you. But to be clear, it's all tracking in real time. The only thing the combat tracker does will keep like advancing, and once the light goes out, it'll actually flash up a image on screen to tell you that the light's out. So really cool functionality. Okay, so when you get this game or this module, which comes free, awesome. Thanks, Eraser. So when you get this game, it is free, or sorry, the adventure module comes along with the purchase of the rule set. We might go ahead and release the quick start as well, but this came with the quick start. But for now, when you buy the module, the rule set, you'll get the GM version of the rule set, the player's module, then you'll also get this adventure. One thing you'll notice as I'm going through this is all of the records for the adventure are locked. That shouldn't be the case. So we're actually going to update that, and hopefully on Tuesday, I don't know how long it'll take, but they'll update it, because you'll see I've had to do some workarounds because I wanted to change tokens and add some things to the audio, or sorry, to the story entries. One other extension that's on here that I didn't talk about is Audio Overseer. As many of you know, there is a kind of a native application integrated within Fantasy Grounds now for Sirenscape that uses the web player. But honestly, the web player, it tends to cut out a lot for me. It doesn't work that well. And that's not Fantasy Grounds. I think that's more my computer in Sirenscape. So I'm actually, and I'll show this to you as we get into different rooms, I'm using I can show this. I'll have to put this up one level, 1 second. There we go. So I am using the genre player of Sirenscape. So I will take that off for now. There we go. But I'm using that, so I'm triggering that because it seems more stable to me. So I'm using the Audio Overseer extension, and that's what you'll see as I kind of do different sounds throughout the game. I do have it working to where it will play sound on just the acts and spells and things like that. And if you look I open the audio section. So again, this is Celestian's extension. And if you see the triggers, I've got all these chat triggers that I set up. And I might release these for free for those who are interested in having all these automatic sounds for the Shadow Dark rule set. And then I also did most of the spells. So Cure Wounds, Deafen. So if somebody actually tries to cast a spell, then you'll hear it. But I have other videos showing that. All right, let's see. When you get this adventure, you'll see that I have a ton of layers set up. That's because the basic version of the adventure and how it comes in the actual book, if you buy the Quick Start rule set, it's a very basic map. So there's not much involved in it. It's all black and white. And that's mostly what you would see, or that is what you would see if you bought the adventure. There are different layers. If you can see at the bottom of my screen, there's a GM and a player layer. You can see that the GM layer is kind of grayed out, so that's hidden from the players. So for example, I'm at the very beginning of the entrance and I see this big thing that says secret door. The players don't see that. So what the players would see, I'll untoggle that visibility for me. So the players just see this, right? And if I toggle it back on now, I see it. The players see only what's on this layer. and I'll show you what I added to the map if you want to make some of your own enhancements. I put the Minotaur on here just to show you what vision looks like, because I do have the player vision preview, line of sight, and lighting enabled. So I created a little bit of ambient light as you're coming into the Scarlet Minotaur's Citadel. Let me go for a second into the story entries. So you do have, and you can drag and drop these into hotkeys, but you have information on how to run the Beastman and the Scarlet Minotaur. And welcome anyone that's joining a little bit late. We had to punt on the game, but I'm doing a kind of a walkthrough of how to set this up in Fantasy Grounds, what I did, and just a little bit about each of the rooms. So you're welcome to stick around if you're interested in listening and hearing a bit about Fantasy Grounds. So the environment, so we are in the southeast. We're just about to Area 1. So there's 2 double doors here with bucking bulls that you can describe to the players. And so if I just move up, if I select the Minotaur and move up, then they can't see any further. I gave him just a lantern light. I wanted to show you as much lighting as I could. So then players can open the doors and then see inside to this room. So let me go into this room. So again, you can see some of the additions. Hey, Spencer, thanks. Appreciate that, man. That's nice. I think Eraser is he is one of my mods. So I don't know, he might already have a tier, but I don't do much on my subs. I probably need to get rid of that. I feel bad having somebody sub when I don't stream a lot. But so here we go. So this is what you'll see. So I'm going to open this room, this mural chamber. So in this case, there is an eder cap that's sitting up in the corner that you can start by just hiding. So the way that I've done this, I set up encounters separately, unfortunately, because again, I can't unlock these records and I should be able to. That'll be fixed. But there were a couple things I wanted to do with this, and I wanted to give the eder cap a different token. So let me add this to the tracker, and it'll add it up in the corner. So again, the player, if I just click on this player, shouldn't be able to see that, I don't think. Can it? Shouldn't be able to. I wonder if I didn't put the... Yeah, I probably should have put this as already... It should have been hidden. I'm trying to look for it right now. You know what? I don't even see it now. That's interesting. Why is that not... Oh, there, Eska. It's up there. So it doesn't show here, but I think it's because it's in its line of sight. So it does see it, yeah. So I would have had to probably hide that. But anyway, you see that. I also created... I took an image that I want to show you and played around with it to show the eder cap. I have a couple of special images in here. So this is what the eder cap looks like. And so I created a little bit, you can see a little bit of movement on it. And I'm trying to remember where I got this, but I found this image, thought it was pretty cool. And then I just added a little wavy image. Yeah, Spencer, you can, but I'd have to do that for every single record. I didn't want to copy every single record, but I did copy the encounters. That's exactly what I did. So, but if you just have this adventure and you don't have this, minimize this for a second. So here's my room 1. So if I make invisible, let me get this guy up here. So if I make this invisible, you can see this is what it would look like. So it would basically have the pillars all black and white. It wouldn't show the statue. But what I did is I colored these in red. I kind of put some murals in the background, and I added this statue image to show that a little bit more to the players. And the description is floor-to-ceiling murals painted in vibrant jewel tones, tapered banded in black marbles, but it does talk about the pillars being red. So I made them red, and I made that statue there. So, but that's what I've done to this room. And yeah, I should have probably just, I don't remember how to set this to be invisible. I probably just shouldn't have dropped it onto the map so they could see it. But that's that. You can go left or right. Right now that's open, But let's go, I don't know how far I'll get today. Let's go to the right. So we'll open this door, and then he can go down the hall, go down some steps. So I'm just showing you what he sees. Yeah, there we go. And then he gets into this room. So I created these lighting effects too. It's a little hard to see. Let's go back to, let me turn these off. So I think I might have these as wall effects too. I'll have to look. Trying to find if I did those. Maybe not. I tried to make some effects that mess with the lighting. Let's take off. Let's see, you see the GM? So that's what he sees when he goes in. Let's have him go in here. What I don't know, it should be showing. Huh, that's interesting. I'll have to look at this later because there should be some images. I'm gonna take off the player vision. There should be some cocoons up here that I put. Now, oh, here we go. I turned that off. There we go. Made that invisible. So when you first come into this room, they'll see these grayish, and I just put those in there. And the description is flecked with countless smooth shards of quartz, white bundles, man-sized, stuffed into several corners, and those are basically bodies of beastmen. So I created that just to give them that sense, and they should. I can't quite see the lighting. It might be something I'm doing, but it should be giving them a little bit of a flash, but I don't see that. But it's okay. I think I made this all bright light because this room, whether or not you have light vision, you're kind of blinded by the quartz on the wall here, and you might have an encounter here. Because there are ettercaps that if that ettercap that was in the first room, if he decides to come down and if he decides to, or if you look up in the corner and see him, and if you try to attack him, he'll run into this room and alert these other folks. And if you do, then I've got that set up as an encounter, ettercap ambush. You can add that to the tracker. And when you do that, and I think this is how it always happens, they do become visible, I believe, unless you don't put them on the map and you just drag and drop them and show them as hidden. They're hidden in the combat tracker, you can see, but they're mask sensitive visibility. So you're going to see them if you drop them on the map. But let me just get rid of those. I could do this either way. I could do it off the map too. So you could fight them, they could parlay, they could do whatever. I did create some effects that I thought I would drop on. Like, for example, you do a morale check if they get to half their hit points. So it's just something as a reminder for me. But like I have Ezka, I'll make him red for now. But I have the guy from the first room. So if I drop this on him, it'll just be a reminder to do a morale check if he gets to half his hit points. It's a DC Wisdom 15 check. So I'd kind of have to open him. And then I would say, hey, I would double click on this and say, hey, he got, looked like it flipped over. He got an 18. So he would pass his check and keep moving. But it's just something to remind me that I should do that. It doesn't have any other functionality. And for those ettercaps, did create some custom effects for poison web. So if they shoot the web, it does ongoing damage of 1d4. And then you can also, there's another place in here you can get stuck in the web. So I did that. I did set up. So if you go into here, I created my own campaign in Sirenscape for the Lost Citadel. I drug in from the website these sound sets. And I tried not to do too many because I have to remember where they are. But so I did pull up one that has an ettercap and spider fight. So if they do get into a fight, you can click on that. And so this is going to get a little bit louder for you. But so it immediately gives them the background of an Ettercap, and I thought that was kind of cool. So I did this in a couple of different sections, but then if they just go back and fight or whatever, they go back and venturing, I can go back to the Winding Way and just have a little background noise. All right, and they can find some things. One of these parcels has a beastman that has a gem in their mouth, and we have the parcel in here that you can give. So all right, so let's move up here. Oh, I guess he has his own light. I think that's why it's not doing what I think it should. So all right, let's go into room 3. So room 3, and again, welcome if you're just popping in here. Appreciate it. We had to punt today. We had one guy that had to cancel, and given this is only a few session one shot, I thought I would just do a walkthrough of what I've done with the map, how to use this in Fantasy Grounds, give you some inspiration. So this room up in the top, room 3, I just dropped in all of these webs because if you open the entry, it's a covered in thick gauzy sheets of webbing. So again, if I go to the map and I created all these layers, so room 3, so if I toggle off the room 3, this is how it's going to show up if you don't add anything like I add. I'll bring the Minotaur in just to show it off. So this is what it would look like, and you would just describe to your players, hey, there's a bunch of webbing, but I go a little overboard sometimes, I think. But figured that way, as you go in there, you could talk to them and tell them that, hey, you get stuck in this webbing, and it even says in the entry, the DC 12 strength to break free and move each turn. So all of this will kind of be really hard to pass through, and it would be double your movement. So basically be difficult terrain. All right, so there is a scroll in the webs they can get to, and the webs do burn. You can kind of role play that. There is a secret door down here that they wouldn't necessarily know. But if somehow they do find it, and I think it is, it's hidden behind a wall of webs back over here. But if they do find it and open it, then obviously, now you can see I go back to this room. I tried to make that flickering like quartz off the walls. So if they don't have a light source, they'll still be able to see this flashing of the quartz from the prior room. So if they go down, I don't know if it'll let me pass given my size. It might not. Oh yeah, it did. Well, maybe not. Just pull them through. I think I have to shift, drag. There we go. All right. So this is the layer of the Ettercaps. So if the party does get down here, let me describe and show you what I did here. All right, so this talks about a group of purple furred pot-bellied humanoids. So we do have those. I won't drop on the encounter, but they are all in here. And again, maybe I'll move this over here, up here, just because I want to get rid of some of this and show you. So in room 4, if you come in here without what I've done, you're going to see it like this. It's just going to say Ettercaps, and your players, again, will not see the GM layer. So your players will just see it like this. So I put the GM layer back on. You see the room number for me. And again, I dropped in all of this webbing and these gold piles. And if you read what it says up here, let me go to here for a second. It does talk about there are neat piles of gold and objects everywhere. So again, I just put in some webbing and I put in the gold piles just to give it a little more of a unique, or a little bit more of a deal. All right, let's go back up and we'll go through this secret door. Hopefully I don't lose my token. All right, so where am I? Let's just disable the lighting for a second. All right, there. Was there. Okay, let me just get myself back. Now we can see the line of sight. All right, let's just keep going in order for now. That was 4, so we're going to go up into room 5. All right, so again, let's turn off. So how you would see it without the GM layer and everything, the players would just see this. And that's how the adventure is in the book. So that's exactly how it shows. But if you open this roving chamber, it's pinned to a wall. There's a skeleton, hands clasp a spear jutting from his ribcage. The walls are chip mosaic, carving cavorting dolphins, white robes on pegs. Or it doesn't say on the east wall, but that's where I'm assuming they are. So if I turn on the layers I created, let's move this right here. Turn on the layers I created. So I know these aren't white, but I couldn't find any other cloaks. So I created some cloaks here on the wall. And then you can kind of see the spear, but I put a skeleton body with a spear through it so that the players could kind of look through it and find that skeleton. In this case, they could find a key if they go through this. So if they search, they can find a key up in the weapons rack up here. All right. And actually, before I do that, for those of you that just joined, I did create an Ettercap image. I'm trying to remember where I found this. It's probably, might have been in Fantasy Grounds somewhere. That's not what I wanted to click on. Let's go to the image, Ettercap. So I found this image. I'm sure I didn't create it, or I think it was already in my assets. But if you look closely, all I did was add a little bit of a layer so that it looks like has a little bit of movement. If you don't look closely, you may not even see it, but I always like giving it a little bit of movement. And I had a little bit of mist that I added. So if you unlock this, you can see I have a water layer and a mist layer. And yeah, I don't remember. I could try to find it, but I don't remember exactly where I found this image. But I always like dropping big images on the players. So there's that. And let's go up and open this door. Again, I'm just trying to show you how the players would see it. So let's go up to, that was 5. There is a secret door if you look here, but they will not see that. So I'm going to keep moving. So they will most likely not see that. That's where the beastmen travel back and forth. So let's keep going up here to room 6. And I will enable the lighting preview again. We'll go to 6. And this is the bathhouse. So we'll again move it in here. All right. I'm going to give you enough, actually. Like it more over here. Like right there. And then we'll move this so you can see it a little better. All right. There you go. So we'll move the basement in here so you can see that a little bit better there. So what does this say? A life-size snake-haired woman with arms raised and mouth open in a screen. The stone basins are smooth and human-sized. Turning the statue hinges the arms down, causing scalding water to spew from the mouth. So if you, again, the module as written, if I turn this layer off, this is what it looks like. And I won't keep turning off the GM later. You get that you don't see the number of the room and you don't see that it says Scarab Swarm, but it's really a basic room and you just have that circle with a star. So I like adding some things to make it look a little bit more interesting. So there is an encounter already listed for the Scarab Swarm. And again, I can't open this. I could have this Fenster's Point drag and drop and create a whole copy of this entry and this will be fixed. But if I open the encounter, I did create my own. I believe I created this one, Scarab Swarm. So I think the developers are adding this, but I added a statue trap. So you don't have to. Obviously, you can just do a D4, but I like to have these to where I can just add it to the combat tracker. And then once I do that, it's in the tracker. You can see it here. And then all I have to do is when I go down to this statue trap, I can double click and, have them actually target someone and, everything's ready to go. There's the Scarab Swarm. So things are all set to go. And again, for I probably do overkill for some of this. You certainly don't have to add a statue trap, right? You could just roll a d4. It's oh geez, keep getting these spammers. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. I don't know. For such a small stream, I don't know why I tend to get these spammers pop in. Maybe I need to do something different, but I think that banned them. All right. All right. So that's that. And you can have that encounter with the swarm. So let us move up. Let's go back through the hallway. And we are going to go to the bull trap. So they're going to go down this lengthy hallway. Come down. Go to the left. Another door. And then they open this door. And if they go into it, then they could find this trap. So, all right. Let me find the bull statue trap. So the way they describe this, and I'll move this over here. Towering 10 feet, bronze, horns lowered for a charge, and the halls are 15 feet high. Pairs of deep holes punched into the wall opposite the statue. So I added this. This is from DM Nell, who runs a lot of Shadow of the Demon Lord games. I found a token pack that he released. You've got to buy it on Roll20, and I never play on Roll20, I promise. But I do buy some token packs there, and I like this. This looks really cool. And it is a bronze statue of a Minotaur. So I added it in there. And again, if you do not use that, if you just use the adventure as written, it's going to look like that. So you would just describe it, right? You would just describe, this is what it looks like. All right. And in this case, again, I think they're adding the encounter, but I went ahead and added my own encounter. So I've got a bull statue trap here. I can add it to the tracker. And when I do that, you can see, if I make that a little bit, you can kind of see the red image right there. But I have a charge action. And if you read what this says, is basically it charges to the end of the hall, and it's a DC 15 dex or 2d6 damage. So all I did is code the damage, and you can have the player roll the dex. I don't think I added that. Let me see if I did. Oh, I did. So yeah, I did set the dex to 15. So you could target and then roll, and it'll roll. Like if I target this guy Brell, who's an NPC, let's do this. Let's clear this out. And if I roll that, it should. So it says right here, Brell, dexterity versus 15. He rolled a 9 and he failed. Then I can roll my damage and Brell will probably die. Yep, Brell died. Let me put this back to 4. So that's, I like coding those all, although again, technically you don't have to code any of these if you don't want to. But I think it's fun. All right, there is an emerald in the statue, so you can award XP. The other thing that's cool about how Bane and Kevin set this up in Fantasy Grounds, if you open your party sheet, and I already have this from our last session, but you can assign different treasure types. And if they get a normal treasure and you want to assign XP, you can just toggle this up, and then finally you can award it. I'm going to do that next session, but you can just track it here. Like, hey, they found some treasure. Let me just track it here. And at the end of the session, if you want to wait, then you can just award the XP. And the party sheet does have the inventory here. So in this case, I've made it visible to everyone, so everything is listed here that the party has. They do need to, and I'll have them do this in the next session, they need to pick this stuff up, because right now they just found some of these things, and I want to make sure they can't just keep that without having it encumber them. So we'll do that later. All right, let's move up to room 8, which should be up here a bit. All right, so you can just see the door up there to room 8. Let's open the door. And So let's start this. Actually, I don't know if there is anything in this one. All right, get rid of this. So in this case, I think it already came with the lighting this way. I don't remember. See if I have anything in room 8. Am I in room 8? Why am I not seeing? Oh, those are the bowls. So I did, let's read what this says. Blood bowls. Square black plinths that are holding a simple terracotta bowl. So I gave them some dynamic lighting, and I believe I added these in. Let's take the bowls out. Let's remove this layer. So yeah, you don't really see. I just added some bowls that have a little bit of dynamic lighting behind them. So not a whole lot in here. And filling a bowl with fresh blood charges the bowl with healing magic. And I don't think I coded that, but obviously it's easy enough to roll a d4 and the bowl will crumble once they use it. All right. Now this one is going to be fun. Hopefully they get to it. So we're going to go up into... It's interesting that let's go to the top. So there is a door up here that they would open, and then they actually have an exit at the top up there. So they could find another exit. All right. And is there anything on here? There's a bull statue in 10 here. So if you scroll back just a bit, I think it's over on this wall. Way back there. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Am I in the... Oh, yeah, I'm not in it yet. So let's go down here. And then once they move down, and there's the bull statue, same kind of thing. They could activate it, and I have a trap set up for that one. But then if they move over into room 9, if they scroll over here, come up. So this is a really cool room. So talk about this room. So sorceress pillars. Move this down here. Let's turn off. So if it's the room as you would see it, this is what it will look like. If you, I'll just move it down here. You can kind of see it. That's what it looks like if you don't do anything to the map. I'll show you what I added. And let's see what it says here. What it says is 4 pillars, 4 pairs, painted rich jewel tones, capped in black marble. There's a body, purple, spindly humanoid, lies face down. Now it says halfway across the room. Let's come back to that. And then it says a bronze, brightly polished great sword with a blade is sunken into a black marble pillar beyond the pillars. And the pillars are red, blue, green, and then purple. So let me just show you, what did I do? So I added all this. My players haven't been here yet. So I added a little stone here. I have a sword and stone. And it's unclear from the adventure if this Ettercap, which is dead, should be like halfway down here or halfway across the room. I chose to make it here because if you read what it says is the Ettercap, it has a lot of clues on it as to what's happening with these pillars. So what happens is as you pass each of these pillars, you pass the red, anything flammable on you ignites and does 1d4 damage per round. And again, this, whether or not this is overkill, I actually added traps for each of these. So I can add this to the combat tracker, and for the red pillars, look on the red pillars. What I did here is create a flammable, basically just ongoing damage 1d4 fire, because they will take 1d4 fire until and if they come back across that vertical or that horizontal line of red. Blue, seawater fills your lungs. So all I did there was create an effect that says drowning, and it's just a notation. There's nothing to it, but they will be drowning. And oh yeah, and I did say 1d6 rounds. So if you drag and drop that on a character, it'll roll and tell you when you drown. So that's That was a cool effect. But at least this way they can inspect the eder cap. And I colored this eder cap. It's on its own layer, and I made it colored purple. So, I mean, whatever. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I created that, the colored purple. And then poison, DC 12 con. So if I go back to that again on my encounter, poison is green. All right, so it should, I think, yeah. So if you do fail, yeah, I thought I had it on here, may or may not. Yeah, there we go. So it's a con, DC con 12. You can roll it on them, and if not, they fail and they basically lose their turn. Purple is just a blinded effect, which is part of the rule set, so you can drag it on if it fails. And if not, they can get a greatsword and have this cool parcel. I like that room, so we'll see. I'm excited to see if they get to that room. All right, I know this is going long. Where is room 11? Let's go down. Go down, so here's room 10. I am going to do this just so we can get to room 11 without having to manipulate him too much. Let's go all the way down here. I'm going to drag him through the wall. And we're going to go over here. And we'll put back on the line of sight. All right. Cool. All right. Go back to enable line of sight. And in this case, you don't want to let them open the door right away. You might tell them, hey, hold on. And actually, I don't know why that's visible. I had done a token that I shouldn't. Okay, doesn't look like it's visible. So the door is unlocked, but it's barricaded. It needs a DC 18 to force. So you might kind of say, hey, hold on before you open that door. See if they can open it. And if they do open it, here's what they see. So I'll move this guy in. And what it says is there are 4 skeletons in tattered red leather armor that shuffle around. I don't think I put in the red leather, but I put in the skeletons. And they're kind of anchored to the floor. Scratched on the walls, it says, days since the beast appeared, and there's about 4 tally lines. These skeletons do... Why did I put so many? Is that right? Yeah, 11. So it looks like they are actually... I thought there were more than that. Maybe I need to update this, but here's the barricade. And then, yeah, I feel like I put too many skeletons. Maybe I need to update those. I swear that I did something. Oh, well, it is what it is. But then you can drop in the encounter. I do have an encounter set up here, skeleton fight. So click on that and just trigger the skeleton fighting. So at least I don't do this all the time because I don't want it to overwhelm the game. But yeah, I might have to update this. I thought there were other bodies in here. That's why I did this. But anyway, I might have to update and say, hey, there's not that many skeletons here. I think what I did is I think I did the red skeletons in another room now that I think about it. I feel like I populated this with the wrong, but we'll see. I'll look at that later. All right, let's go to 12. So let's go up here and over. And if I go over, I might break this up into, we'll see. We'll see how far I get. Try to go a little quicker. So here's number 12. What does this say here? Tangled heaps of, yeah, I think this is what I meant to do. So I'm going to have to, I'm glad I checked this. I'll do this before the next session. But this says, tangled heaps of gaping skeletons, a bronze dagger, sticks in the wall. I thought I did this, but maybe not. Yeah, it's interesting. Why is that? Oh, got them all. Sometimes I feel like the layer, maybe I screwed up the layer here because I don't see that. I'm in room 12. Let's turn off the lighting for a second. Oh. All right, so this is room 12. Yeah. See, those are supposed to be in this room. So I think I'm going to have to move I'll do it next time, but that's good to know. Where are these? Okay. All right. So I'm going to have to update that, but I'm glad I saw that. So good to know. But let's go back to this entry. So there are a bunch of skeletons cut in half. There's a bronze dagger, and there's splintered wooden racks. I didn't put all of that in there, but I put some of that in there. And we had, in this case, if touched, if one of these is touched, there's a 1 in 12 chance it will rise as a white. So again, I've got a sound set here, white battle, that if we do that, we get right into the white battle. And they could hear that, and going to make it a little more exciting part of the adventure. So they can fight that. Beastmen are listening. There's another bull statue in 13. So through this door here, we don't really need to go into that, but see, you go in here and you see the bull statue. So that's 13. Let's go to 14. 14 is just a secret area for the beastmen. That's fine. Let's just do a couple other rooms. I feel like this is already going long. And I want to show you room 20. So let's do that. You're getting the feel for how I've set this up, so we don't need to do all of these. So let's go into room 20. This one was a little janky, but let's show you how I did it. So here's what it says, and I know the tile doesn't quite look right, but I was trying to give the players a chance to maybe investigate before they just keep going into this, because here's what it says. Mosaics of rich orange, yellow, and red tiles in a swirl pattern. And camouflaged is from in here is an ochre jelly. So I'm going to find the ochre jelly that I created, and I gave it its own token, because otherwise it's a very bland black and white token, which is okay. That's part of Shadow Dark, but I wanted something a little bit cooler. And I did create an image for that one, and I'll show that to you. So again, I kind of wanted it to simulate movement, so that might be a little bit too much movement, but I like the idea of the jelly and showing him kind of how it's like amorphous and it's moving. So that's what that is. All right. Let's see. What other rooms? There's the Minotaur, of course. There's Beastmen. Maybe I'll show... I have some links that I might show just how some of the tables. So I created a couple of tables that might be useful. And some of these are really basic. You don't really need to. Oh, if it can. There we go. So in Shadow Dark, there's just a random roll, D6. A fail for is bad. 1 to 3 is bad. 4 to 6 is good. So you can roll this if you want, or you can just flip a coin. You can do whatever you want. And I just say success, good for players if it's 4, 5, or 6. Light panel, we went through factions. We went through my torches. Counting down, which tells me I'm getting close to needing to wrap this up. Reaction. I do have an NPC reaction table. I think this is part of the core book table. So this will tell you if you want to roll and see if an NPC is hostile or what their reaction is. That. Counters, webs, effects. Trying to see if there's anything else I want to show you. Name generators. Oh, I do have one other extension and module that I put in here. I actually bought both Maticures and Banes. But what it added over here, I'm using Bane's right now, is this shop button that you can't see. I'm on the right hand side here, but I'm going to open it and show you. So if the players get out and they just need some downtime and they need a break from the dungeon, they can, let me get rid of this. Okay. So this is the shop extension. And so what's cool about this is I drug in all of the like weapons and items and what have you, and you can put a token in for the shopkeeper. And I don't know if you can drag it in the combat tracker. I don't think so. I'll get rid of that after. Well, actually, yeah, I'll get rid of that after. So all these in here, you can adjust the price. Just be careful because this will like cumulatively adjust the price. Like I can put in a 30% premium. But then if I do it again, and if I say 40% premium, it's going to do 40% on top of the 30%. I talked to Bane about that. I don't know if he wants to change that. It'd be nice if it was just a flat, hey, it's list plus 40, and then if I want it to be list minus 10, make it easier. But in this case, like I can drag one of my players in, and then you see this little purchase button now populated. And if I want, I can say, hey, I want to buy a club, and it decrements how many are, and I just decided how many I wanted the shopkeeper to have. And so if I drag that over, you can see this goes to 1. If I give him 2, now this button is gone because he's out of inventory. This constantly updates the amount of the cost. And if I try to purchase and he doesn't have enough gold, let's just like do all this and let's do too much. We'll do a great sword, all of this. So it's a ton of money, purchase. And then I think it says over here, GM, not enough funds. So at least it's really cool that it actually checks against what you have in inventory. So that's a nice extension, I think. And you can keep your own notes. It's just like a text field here, but if they interact with this guy more than once, you can keep some notes. They have a ledger, so I loaded it with just 100 gold pieces to start, but this should update, I believe, up and down based on buying and selling equipment with the PCs. So I think that's most everything. And that puts it all back. So talents, modules, we talked about the lighting, the light panel, dice. There's advantage, disadvantage, of course, make that easy enough. I think for now, that's probably good enough. We're almost at an hour. I see my torchlight dimming. I hope this is helpful. I'm really hoping we're back next week. And again, unfortunately, one of the players couldn't make it. So I thought I'd just use a bit of time to show you all how I set this up in Fantasy Grounds. And I hope it helps you all. And I'll try to post links when I put this up on YouTube. I'll post some links to some of the extensions I used. The light torch timer, which is this. I'm moving it over to this screen. It's just torchlighttimer.com, but it's kind of a nice, neat functionality to where you all, as the stream, can see graphically how close we're getting to the players running out of light. And let me see if there's any other in Sirenscape. So we went through. So if they do fight the Minotaur, then I can click on the Minotaur battle. Or if I just want, if I don't want to have the battle, but if I want to just have them say, hey, you're hearing the Minotaur, then I can obviously toggle like the growls and bellows that he's getting closer. I won't do that too much, but I might do that a little bit. I don't need all of these, but I did have the Ettercap and the skeleton fight from here. If they can fight an animated armor and a dark mantle, so I added this sound set. So if I needed to, this one, I think it was just more background if I needed it. This is if they do fight the ochre jelly and they do step on that and fight it, then I can toggle that on. Thought that's a cool ambiance. And again, you won't necessarily see this because I would have this, I would turn this off in the background. The players would see it, or sorry, wouldn't see it either. They would hear the sounds, but they wouldn't see it. And yeah, that's that. I'm going to move this back over. And if there are any questions, I know there's only 2 people in chat at the moment. If anybody has any questions before I wrap the stream, and appreciate you taking the time to look at this, and I hope it helps you set up your stream a bit. But I'm going to give it just a second or two, or a minute or two. And if there are no questions, I'll stop the stream. But if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take any. And don't hesitate to hit me up on Discord or Fantasy Grounds if for any reason you want to ask me some questions there as well on how to set things up. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone watching. And with that, I think I will turn shut the stream down, and hope to see you all next week when we're back with a live play. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.